Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we managed to convince the judge that Gregson, the victim, wasn't killed when everyone heard that explosion like a gunshot. No, it happened at least a day before, and it was set up on a timer by placing a firecracker near a lit candle. As it burnt down, it eventually made the firecrackers explode. So, now our attention is turning to the investigation that Gregson was working on before he died, investigating the Redhead Society, a sham apparently orchestrated by these two gentlemen to try and get money from poor red-headed hopefuls. So I guess we need to continue our cross-examination of them, so let's do just that. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day.
Hold it!
1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital. See, the capo here, he has the magnetismo animal, eh? Animal magnetism. Nobody else could attract us so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino, the £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? Oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names, and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. Oh. Can I get that list? That sounds really helpful. And then I tell them we take us some days to let them know by a post, if finito. Maybe 2 minutes a person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night. So, you earn 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who would have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. But I don't recall the man in this photograph, eh, Capo?
Hold it!
He doesn't look at all familiar. No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, eh? He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Eh, Capo? You didn't see a man like this, huh? No, I don't remember him. And obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park.
Hold it!
But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. Then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could have give us, maybe then we would recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? Oh, for the love of... If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I would have forgotten him. Cosima said these two had only been shown that photograph and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example... his fish and chips? Well, he took their name and address, right? So let's definitely try that. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Gregson? Yes. Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them. Oh. It was not a real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names? But you said you wrote them down. Well, you took the names and addresses, but... That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we have already said. I see. It seems there's little to be gained from pursuing this point further. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. Si, Capo, si. I say it again and again. We'll come back to that. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. Hold it! But we only have your word for that. See, but what else can we do, huh? True. Ugh, we are not having much of fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Eh, Capo? No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. Huh, you had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Eh, Capo? You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. Hold it! Tell me how. What do you mean by that? Cavolo, you promised not to say, eh, Capo? After we had taken all the monies that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk. Dunkerque. Would that be Dunkirk? That probably is Dunkirk. To my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops. See, but it's an easy mistake to make, huh? The 1st, the 31st? Boff, I have no sympathy for you. We were an all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. And it's only because of this that the so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God, is a holy punishment, eh? Peppino, for the last time. This is not only punishment, this is all your fault. Oh, don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a faster. I'm not even Italian and I feel offended by this man. And I've seen the evidence. Look, actually. I say that, but then I lost my shit laughing over like this social media image of someone yelling at a dude for like writing inaccurate fan fiction or something for a character in the what's the show with the Italian American crime family? Not The Godfather, it's the show. It's the Wire? No, it's the one with the weird ending with it where it like cuts to black as someone walks in a door. You know the one. But they were critiquing them for writing the main character completely inaccurately or something, and the dude replies just, "Hey, I cook at the pizza." really tickled my funny bone. They haven't told us much we didn't already know.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet these two both claim they didn't see him.
I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies.
Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well.
Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught.
Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information.
Definitely.
Right, so we need to press the third statement to recall.
Hold it!
Let's try this again. And hopefully I won't get penalized again if I mess up. Let's see. If they found out that this guy was trying to investigate them, this might make them sweat and slip up. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember it in the situation. But what if I told you that the man in the red hair piece was actually a detective?
The man in the photograph, a detective?
Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito.
Sorry, but this changes nothing.
Oh?
Excuse me!
Something to add, Mr. De Rossi.
See, I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper.
What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance?
Huh? What did he just say? About the detective?
Yes, that.
Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard.
What? Good Lord! Ordar! 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 Explain this votive face in your testimony, witness. What the hell is a volte face?
It is simple. A man who was at a park said, there was no such man. Madai, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not to the memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection!
Erg. Chop tard. The damage is done.
Indeed it is, sir.
There was a man who came to the park and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else.
How can he be so sure?
Because, to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean-shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner.
No resemblance whatsoever, then. Wow. Burn.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the capo here, he doesn't take no nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification.
Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing.
Sorry, my lord?
Counsel, an incognito inspector would offer his identification. No incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity?
Clearly, the papers were fake. Asserto, Capo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh?
And what happened after he announced that he was a detective?
He became very annoying. He said, "You are under investigation." So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico, and look, here is the identification.
Okay. Metropolitan Police warrant card. So you stole it from the man.
He had it a-comin'. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was.
Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence.
Huh, but I like them.
Oh, here we go. Now, let us return to the witness's testimony. Let's see. Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. Huh. It looks official. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Oh, come on. You really gonna do me like that, game?
Out of interest, what name is given?
Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson? Wait, what?
This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me.
But how?
And the department and identification number details are all correct as well.
Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say...
I know it seems incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard.
But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all? Huh. Well, how about that? Well, alright. Let's see. Wait, what was that? I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park. Well, that's a lie. Yeah, it's definitely this one. I assure you he was not in the park, and yet you took this from him in the park.
Objection!
I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why, Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, Counsel? Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen.
That is the boss's. No question about it.
It can't be. As I suspected, the undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation.
Pseudolore.
Ordar? Ordar.
But If the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lose Summit, report it at once, he'd say.
Could it be, then, that the inspector was physically unable to report it?
Physically? Eh? What are you a-saying?
Unable to? You're not suggesting... Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. No. Order! 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 The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered, at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that?
Where? I know nothing. Where? I done nothing. Where? Pull yourself together, Peppino. Come on, do. You can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, no? Where? Now I wish I had a return to Italia. Where? How old is this man?
Hold on. I need to see his age. Let's see here. He's 25. Huh. 26.
Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise I...
Lum?
Stop your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story, and
I know nothing. Wah. I done nothing. Wah.
But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them.
Wah. For crying out loud. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout.
Wow!
Okay. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Wah.
This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man.
But, no, see, no, it was not like a prison. He was a very comfortable and a calm and a happy. Eh, Capo? It was never part of my plan. I swear it. Oh, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong by one a little day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No. Per favor, Capo. It's not fair.
You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
Oof. I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout. I need to know where your hideout was. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout.
Hold it!
Do you realize what you're saying?
You have to believe me. I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective did not intend it either.
Do you think?
But there is nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. This was the first crime for the capo. He was at the end of his wits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind.
What about this hideout of yours?
An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the capo here.
An impulsive idea, I would say.
No, not impulsive. Inspired, eh, capo? What am I supposed to say to that, Peppino?
And it was in the house described that you confined Inspector Gregson, was it?
Oui. But you have to remember, I was under the impressions that he was a pretender, not a real inspector.
That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there?
None, you are right, but we couldn't be completely certain. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case.
Hold it!
Too scared? Why?
Because, why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance that he had seen through my plan. And if that was the case, he would go straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning to be an inspector, he was up to no good, Without a doubt,
I think most people would agree that it's you two who are up to no good.
Well, see, you may be right, eh, capo? The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner.
What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place.
See, I ask myself the same question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what happened.
We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who we took 5 shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard, Homicide Division, he said.
What?
He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude. I just politely asked him why he said it. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterwards, he took out his identification.
What was Inspector Gregson playing at?
Yeah,
it wasn't Gregson at all. I think someone stole his identification, was posing at him. Look, as much as I hate the fact that we're gonna see him again, I'm pretty sure Gossip's bruise on his throat is a sign that he was the captive. It's like a rope burn or something around the neck that was given to him by these two gentlemen. Oh. Gossip, you idiot. Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say?
See, we did. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning he let him go. Oh wait, I should press this, right.
Hold it!
That being this identification book here, correct?
See, that is the one.
What made you believe that it was a forgery?
I never seen a real one, of course, but he was so suspicious, this man. Allora, I was a-thinking it must be falso. Eh, Capo?
Oui, it is just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine.
And so, together, the hilarious brothers, we took the man captive. All we did was shove him inside a locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all of the money.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm. And the next morning we let him go.
Hold it!
What do you mean by a little tussle exactly?
Boff, it was nothing. Just a minor incident. The falso inspector, he was a real piece of the work, eh, Capo?
What happened?
Uffa, it was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what does he do, huh? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through the ventilator.
Can you blame him?
We chased him, bien sûr, and we caught him again. Can you blame us?
Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you?
Seth, who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply caught hold of him again and took him back to the room.
Oh, tell me how you did it. Was it with a rope around the neck?
Excuse me!
Mr. De Rossi, is something wrong?
Eh? Me?
Something Mr. De Rousseau just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about?
Cavolo, at times like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from personal experience.
Personal experience?
That is enough, Peppino. There's no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the Red-Headed League plan into action, I was scared. It was not fair to the capo, but I tried to run away.
It's a shame you didn't manage it.
But the capo here, he came after me like the turbine, huh? And he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it, eh, Capo?
Uh-huh. Okay, so I was just looking at his age. I was like, hey, what's that red mark on his chin? Or I guess where a chin should be. It's probably just a weird way of shading it for the official art. It's not a real thing. There we go. Bruises, you say?
You wanna see, huh? You wanna see my fantastico bruises? That's enough now, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you. What to do, huh? I show you, or I don't. I show you, or I don't.
You do. Now!
Allora, if everybody wants to see, then I do it. Go, you see? It's still very visible, eh?
That red ring around your neck. You got that when you were dragged back to the house?
See, the capo, sometimes he is a very... I said that's enough. Peppino's neck has nothing to do with what we are talking about here. You had my word.
Yes, what is your opinion, counsel?
About this red ring around Mr. De Rossi's neck.
I wonder, does it matter? Oh, it's important. Mr. De Rossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck.
Hey, Capo, you see, everyone is interested in what I say, huh?
Very well, you will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rossi.
See, if you really want to know.
brother.
He tried to escape, but the capo put a collar on him and dragged him back, like what he did to me, see?
Hold it!
Are you saying that red mark was caused by...
See, a big collar made from a leather.
A leather collar? Is this true, Mr. de Rousseau?
What? We had a St. Bernard at home when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time. It was a very strong chain.
A strong chain? And you put that around your friend's neck?
I'm sorry, I was so angry that he was leaving me alone. You did not have to tie the chain to the leg of the bed, though, huh? I would not have tried to run again.
You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you?
Treat the people equal, is the capo here's motto, eh?
It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden.
The capo is a tough, but the capo is a rough. Ugh, I shouldn't have done it.
So the following morning when you released the inspector...
He had the red ring around his neck just like me. Peppino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now. Now you know, eh? The capo here, he don't want to tangle with him, eh? But for the inspector, it's not so bad. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Wah!
Hold it!
You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you make it sound, you are still holding him prisoner.
If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too, the lack of our money. So we are the prisoners as well, huh? All of us.
Huh?
No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad, and it makes me sad. What can we do?
Well... If you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. That'll cost you, of course.
There you have it. You see, that is why we need the Red-Headed League, to fight for the justice.
Perhaps he has a point.
No, Mr. Naruhodo. All we did was to give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. And you said it was a prison, huh?
Perhaps he has a point again.
No, again, Mr. Naruhodo. You should have heard him snoring. But die, if anyone was disturbed, it was us.
Not much to go on, really.
Their testimony does make me wonder, you know. About this pocket watch belonging to the inspector, I mean.
Ah, yes, the one he treasured so much, apparently.
If he was confined but not restrained, as the witnesses are implying, he would still have been able to wind his watch.
That's very true, yes. So did Inspector Gregson actually die while he was being held captive by these redheads?
In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's...
To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened.
Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo, yes.
Okay. He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar on him and dragged him back. Look what he did to me. Now, the autopsy report... The autopsy makes no mention of this. I wish I could just, like, present, Gossip's profile, but I think we need to have some sort of direct contradiction. How about, can we see his neck from here? Not really, except for this part. Well, Susato did say that he would wind it every day. There's a lot of things I could do here. Crap. Look at this, right? Yeah. Does this guy have a mark on his neck? No, that's an old photo anyway. I'm gonna go with, if you put a collar on him, why is there no red mark on the neck?
Objection!
Oh, thank God. Oh. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was homely. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. Huh? But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. And I saw the red bruises on his neck just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. De Rossi. Indeed, that is most peculiar. But what did we tell you, Huh? We say this from the beginning, many times. Where? Oui, Peppino is right. The man is in the photograph. He is someone different to the man we held captives that night. Well, there you go. Order! 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 It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book, issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day, which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely those occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious! Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So, Why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was the inspector that appeared before Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi? An imposter. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's alright. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with a dog collar. Bon Dieu, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say, huh? So who was that falso inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man who these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? It was the Lord Chief Justice, Your Honor. No. Ugh.
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that? One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passerby.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? Ah. See, this man is not for the Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no? Yeah. Apparently, he's based on the man with the twisted lip from an actual Sherlock Holmes story. Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noticed something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Huh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Order! Bailiff, bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom. Immediately. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this, me. It's a birthmark, innit? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Somewhat about an inspector again. But I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it. Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, you still have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? We are in a big trouble, eh, Capo? That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony.
This should be good. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man. He's right, see. You think we would forget these grand lips, huh?
I know, I sure can't.
I never leave Fresno Street, alright? I've no interest in any red-headed league. I'm all alone in the world, me. I have no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I could carry off a disguise with a face like this?
It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, huh? There was no need for this pointless testimony.
Ugh.
That's right. I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I ever come by a police inspector's identification book, eh?
Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but... A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief.
Ugh. Isn't there anyone in the courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, well, looks to me like we stand in the same position we ended things last time in. Just not quite enough time to carry forward here. Well, if we weren't before, we're definitely very, very close to the end of this trial here. I have to wonder if these three are covering for each other. Now, Gossip, he's, well, a gossip, but I wonder if he's also a diver. Could he have stolen Gregson's book? Well, I would think not. I would think he would go for the pocket watch, if anything. And, well, someone certainly stole it and tried to sell it, but it wasn't him, I don't think. I think it was, Venus who did that, I think? Yeah, it was Venus. God, something's weird. I want answers, and I want them now. Well, I struggled to think of anything else to say, really. We got some great momentum going. Hopefully we can keep that up. And I'm still wondering how the hell the vigils are going to figure into this. What the hell happened to Daily Vigil? How is he going to figure into this? How? Oh, it's so weird. Well, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching the first video of a new year. And until then, please take care.